Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education Special Education Virtual Webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We also have a faculty member of the Special Education Department, Dr. Alexandra Shelton, and Ms. Sydney Pinkard from Montgomery County Public Schools joining us today. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Please take a second to see if your mic is on mute and video is off right now. Please have your mic on mute and video off at all times during the presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your question in the chat box and we'll read and answer your questions. I would like to share the agenda for today's virtual webinar. We will start the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Shelton will go over the details of the special education programs at SOE. Then we will cover admissions requirements and financial aid. Ms. Pinkard will also cover information on tuition reimbursement. Finally, we will leave the floor open for questions at the end. And to start, we are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. And we are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. And also here on the slide, you will see some fast facts about our school. And for school enrollment, we have approximately 2,364 students, and we offer 27 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. And we also have a strong network of over 23,000 SOE alums. And for faculty introduction, we have 3 faculty members for the Special Education Department, Dr. Rebecca Cruz, Dr. Tamara Martyr, and also Dr. Alexandra Shelton. And presenting today, we have Dr. Shelton. And Dr. Shelton joined us at SOE in 2021. Her research focus is on improving literacy outcomes for secondary students with mild disabilities, including mild intellectual disability and learning disabilities via intensive intervention and teacher professional development and coaching. And for prior experience, Dr. Shelton was a high school special education teacher in Baltimore City Public Schools, where she served students with and without disabilities in English language arts, reading, math, and science. And at this time, I will hand the floor over to Dr. Shelton.
Hi, so there's a critical shortage of special education teachers in most of the United States. And because of the pandemic, we have an even greater need to have well-trained special educators. So it's important that states and school districts create ways to increase the number of people entering the teaching profession for special education specifically, as well as increase diversity within the field of special education. Next slide. So that is why we offer 3 pathways in the field of special education. This way you can customize your master's degree to meet your professional goals. And today we'll be focusing on the mild to moderate disabilities pathway. Next slide, please. So the MMD pathway is designed for candidates who plan to serve students with mild to moderate disabilities. And this includes emotional and behavioral disabilities, learning disabilities, as well as mild intellectual disability and ADHD under the disability identification of other health impairment. And the focus of the MMD pathway is on gaining expertise in applying specialized techniques within a wide range of educational settings. Our program is approved by the Maryland State Department of Education for initial certification in generic special education, which essentially means special education in general. That being said, there are two tracks. There's the elementary middle track, which focuses on certification for grades 1 through 8. And then there's the secondary adult track, which focuses on certification for grades 6 through 12. So there's the middle grades. There's some overlap with the middle grades. So this is an opportunity for most students to earn your degree in special education. There is an opportunity for students to earn their master's without seeking certification, but most of our candidates do seek their master's degree and special education certification so that they can teach. Next slide, please. So our program consists of 13 courses, and most of our classes are taken by all candidates. However, there are some classes that are track specific. For example, spoken and written language, which is bold on this slide, is specifically for candidates on the elementary middle track. And on the next slide, you should see career assessment and programming. And this is a class that is specifically for candidates on the secondary adult track. Additionally, our program plan includes 2 classroom or behavior management courses, as well as 2 internship courses. Next slide. So we offer classes in the summer, fall, and spring, and most of our classes are in person and they occur in the evening at a centrally located campus, which is the Applied Physics Lab in Laurel. And we also have some classes that are offered online. Most candidates take 2 to 3 years to complete the program, but it really can be completed in just 2 years. Along with completing coursework, there are specific program requirements that students will complete as they move through the program. There are 2 praxis exams that students must complete for certification. There's a comprehensive exam that students complete at the midpoint of the program. There's a culmination project for students who are seeking state certification. And for students who are not seeking state certification, there's a graduate project and presentation to complete. For students who are seeking state certification, that graduate project and presentation is optional. Next slide. So now I wanted to share a bit about the Special Education Teacher Immersion Training, or SETIT program. This program is a partnership with Montgomery County Public Schools that's open to MCPS employees, mostly MCPS paraeducators. So members of SETIT complete our program in 2 years to earn their master's in special education with a focus on mild to moderate disabilities. The course of study is delivered in a prescribed series of courses that students take with the rest of their MCPS cohort. And again, completion of this program allows for certification in generic special education for elementary middle grades, so that's grades 1 through 8, or secondary adult grades, which are grades 6 through 12. This means that SETIT cohort members should have current job placements that align with the appropriate grades. So if a SETIT candidate is seeking certification to be an elementary special education teacher, then their current job placement should be should be working with elementary students. Additionally, SETIT allows teachers to complete their 2 internships in a Montgomery County Public Schools classroom, which is why there needs to be alignment between what track candidates are on, so whether that's elementary, middle, or secondary adult, and where they work. You also have access to your salary and benefits as a MCPS employee, as well as partial tuition support. And one thing to keep in mind is that SETIT is for official employees of MCPS, but not substitute teachers. And my email address is at the bottom of the slide. I'm happy to answer additional questions or any questions offline. Next slide, please. So the ideal SETIT candidate is seeking certification or state certification in special education to work with students with mild to moderate disabilities. The ideal SETIT candidate is able to commit to 2 years of graduate coursework and is eligible for admissions by meeting the admissions requirements. And of course, the ideal SETIC candidate is willing to work and study hard.
All right, thank you, Dr. Shelton. So moving on to application requirements. 3.0 or better cumulative undergraduate grade point average. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on the school's website. The application fee is $80. Official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions attended. We need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. And then essay and a current resume, 2 letters of recommendation from individuals who can speak to your work in the field of special education. And for the mild to moderate program, testing scores are required if your GPA is less than 3.0. Please visit the Maryland Department of Education website for a listing of specific tests that are accepted. And lastly, an interview. Applicants who meet admission requirements will be asked to interview to ensure that your goals align with the program's goals before an offer of admission. And for international students, if your degree was completed outside of the US, please keep in mind that you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on the school's website. The tuition for the 2022-2023 academic school year is $918 for face-to-face courses and $972 plus a $20 per credit technology fee for online courses. In addition, the registration fee is $175 per semester, and there's an application fee of $80 when you submit your application. For additional information on tuition and fees, please visit the SOE website. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. SOE offers a limited number of partial need-based institutional scholarships each year. And these awards range on average from $500 to $1,500 per semester and are applied to tuition expenses beginning in the fall semester. Please keep in mind to apply for the SOE endowed scholarships, students must complete the FAFSA form. To learn if you qualify for the endowed scholarship or have any questions regarding financial aid, please visit the school's website. I will now hand the floor over to Ms. Sydney Pinkard from Montgomery County Public Schools.
Okay, thank you very much. So if you are interested, if you're not already a permanent employee in MCPS and you are interested in employment, one of the benefits that we do offer so that candidates can be eligible for the SETIC partnership is tuition reimbursement. And that is one of many benefits that employees are eligible to receive. The criteria to be benefits eligible is that you need to be permanently employed in a position of 20 hours or more. And then you will also have built-in approval to exceed the 9 credits of tuition reimbursement that is available to you typically if you want to be a member of the SETIC partnership. It's important to note that the credits that you do exceed in excess of 9 each year do count towards future reimbursement. We can go to the next slide. When it comes to benefits and how the tuition reimbursement process works in MCPS, I don't manage that process specifically, but I do work very closely with that team. So feel free to reach out to me initially with your questions regarding tuition reimbursement in Montgomery County Public Schools, and then I can connect you to the team that can share the process with you. Currently for this school year, the reimbursement rate is $384 per graduate credit. Typically, that reimbursement rate does increase by a few dollars each year, and we learn of any increases in the months of July and August. But this will give you some initial financial information so that you can plan. And I think we can go to the next slide. Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Pinker. So at this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions. And while we wait for questions, Dr. Shelton, I do have some couple frequently asked questions. The first one that we get here in the Office of Admissions is, where are classes offered?
So most of our classes are offered in person in Laurel at the Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. But we also have a good number of classes that are online, especially our summer classes. So we essentially have a hybrid approach to our classes, which allows for a lot of flexibility for students, especially those who are full-time employees already.
Great. And Dr. Shelton, are the online courses asynchronous or synchronous?
Some are asynchronous and some are synchronous. It depends on the course and the instructor. And some have both asynchronous modules and synchronous class sessions.
Great, thank you, Dr. Shelton. And how many internships are scheduled, and where do I do my internships?
So in order to seek certification, students complete 2 internships. For SETIT cohort members, they complete their intern. It's a job. They complete 2 job embedded internships, meaning they complete their internships where they currently, at the school in which they currently work. If that's already in a classroom, it might be the particular classroom that they're already working in. If they're not working in a classroom, then there's some coordination that would be involved with, or that would be required with the principal to make sure that students can complete a job embedded internship. The most important thing to consider about internships is that there needs to be alignment between the grade or the grade level that students are seeking certification in and the grades of the classroom that they're working in.
Thank
And
you, Dr. Shelton. I see some questions. The first another one that we have is, I currently work with autism students with severe disabilities. I am interested in the SETIT program. Is it only for mild to moderate?
so that's a good question. We have a large number of students who work in similar settings. They work with students who have more extensive support needs, but they're still seeking certification, and they're still in the SETIT program. And so it allows for, SETIT allows for the generic special education certification and not certification in severe disabilities specifically. However, a lot of students find that what they learn in their courses, they are able to apply in their current school settings or in their current classroom settings. And internships are still possible in those, is their specific setting. So there's still that flexibility. I hope that answers your question, Andrew.
And the second question is, when are the SETIT admission deadlines?
So SETIT has rolling admissions. The main thing to keep in mind is that the SETIT cohort starts in the summer. So with online classes this summer. So my recommendation would be to apply as soon as possible, so that you're able to, start the program in June. Also, I'm going to put my email address in the chat so that if you have any additional questions, you can just email me and I can answer them for you.
All right, wonderful. So it looks like there are no more questions. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you again, Dr. Shelton and Ms. Pinkert for joining us today.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Take care.